Hi, my name is Tim Mulvaney, and I am 56 years old.
Stephen Kozik, 54.
I'm Tova, and I'm 6.
I'm Nova. I'm 5.
Well, we are a now 100% Jewish family from a couple years ago, but our Jewish identity started back as a couple back in about 1996. And Stephen was raised in a moderately observant conservative Jewish household, and I was raised actually Roman Catholic in rural Minnesota. But in one of our third or fourth dates, we actually were at the Gay Pride Parade in Lower Manhattan, and a contingent of gay people went by with kids. And Stephen said to me, his joke to me was, as long as we raise them Jewish. And there were two things about that. It was funny at the time, but I didn't realize he was actually signaling to me his deep desire and commitment to both having kids and to his Judaism. So at the time, I barely knew him, so I didn't know that was true. But that fall, we started going to the High Holy Day services through CBST, Congregation Beit Simchat Torah downtown. And for me, it was actually some of my first real exposure to Jewish religion and Jewish identity and Jewish ritual, and especially the carrying of the Torah. And so what happened was during Rosh Hashanah services, the Torah is going around the room, and we're sort of stuck in the middle. And Stephen couldn't get to the Torah, and so I'm like, okay, whatever. But then at Yom Kippur, we're at the Javits Center, and as he's coming back from somewhere, as the Torah is going on in the room, and now he was able to touch it. And I could see him touch it from across the room. And first, that was another moment where I realized how much I loved him, and two, how important his Judaism was to him. And I thought, if we're going to be together, this has to be a part of who we are as a couple and as a family. So that I realized the size, how much that meant to him, and it meant to him way more than my Catholicism meant to me at the time. So that's sort of how we got started.
So we began attending services regularly at our house in the Catskills. We became members of Congregation B'nai Israel, which is a 100-year-old community in Fleischman's, New York. And I think after attending services, Tim decided that if we're going to spend 3 or 4 hours a week in shul, that he wanted to learn Siddur Hebrew, that it would be much more meaningful for him and important. We progressed. We started taking Hebrew classes on Sunday. Tim to learn Hebrew, me to improve my Hebrew. I became the gabbai at the synagogue, distributing aliyot and honors for the congregation. I was also the vice president there for about 4 years. And for our home, we started moving towards a kosher home. We stopped mixing meat and dairy, eating pork or shellfish, eating kosher meat. And we also wanted to integrate sort of what I consider the technical aspect with the emotional aspect of the meaning of this and how it affected us in our hearts and our souls, and observing Shabbat, but more important than just what time we were lighting candles, but what it meant to us. And the kids have taken it and interpreted it for them as well. And so when they go to summer camp and they go to school, their lunches, they observe the kosher laws as well. When we at that point, when we started to decide about to adopt our two daughters, we did decide to raise them Jewish, and we went to the Bet Din and the Mikveh in 2010 for Tova, and Nava was right after in 2011.
So now we have kids, and we have a kosher style home. We know Hebrew, and then it was time to get married. And so we got married under the chuppah in 2013, 17 years to the day that we met, both Tova and Nava in our arms under the chuppah with us. And then it was time to turn the house 100% Jewish. And that's meant Tim, decided to convert. So originally we spent a year, Stephen and I actually spent a year together in class learning all about Jewish history and Jewish culture and practices. It was actually quite an interesting experience it was a group of folks, about 8 or 10 of us, a variety of couples who were getting ready to, one member just about everybody, one member was Jewish, one of the couple was not. Actually, we were the only married couple with kids at the time in the group, so we were the most traditional couple in the group, oddly enough. So, and then in 2014, so we returned to the mikveh and the Beit Din for the third time. So now I was in front of the Beit Din and going, submerging myself in the mikveh, just as we had done for Tova and for Nava. So now we are all the way to 100% Jewish in our household. Which now, for me personally, one of the ways that showed up mostly is that now I could touch the Torah. So all the way back to the ritual of the Torah going around the room. And I never felt comfortable touching it because it felt like, well, I don't know enough about what it means and what I get the idea about being in reverence to the Torah and touching it and kissing your hand or the book or whatever. But I didn't know what, since I wasn't actually Jewish, I felt I should not touch the Torah myself. So up until then, and we at Congregation B'nai Israel upstate for the High Holy Days, it was the first time I got to have my very own Aliyah. I got to touch the Torah. So it's a very small congregation. All four of us got to carry the Torahs around on Yom Kippur. So it was actually quite a thing. And then even this last summer, I was the gabbai calling congregants up to the bima for the Aliyah. So it was kind of an amazing thing. So, and of course, the kids are now in their second year of Hebrew school here at Ansche Chesed. And we actually attended High Holy Day services here this year. And so I don't know what else to say except we continue to work out our mix of gay and married and multiracial Jewish family into one singular coherent whole. And Tova, I think did you want to say something?
Just that you like coming to Ansche Chesed?
Yes.